I'm going to have us go live
Right.
on Instagram as well. My ring in the background. We are live on Instagram. I'm sure we're live on
All right.
Facebook as well. So let's get started. Happy Monday,
Excellent.
everyone. Hope you had a wonderful weekend. We are here again for our Healers Talk Mondays, and it's spinning, but I'm sure we're live on Facebook. So if you're seeing us, give us a thumbs up, wave, say hi, whatever you'd like, just to let us know. Today, we are going to be talking about how neurological connections work and really just how it's actually causes some difficulty when it comes to wanting to shift or transform due to these neurological connections. My name is Anuschka
Right.
Alborzian. I'm an empowerment health coach and energy healer.
Hello, and I am Jacob Moya, and I'm also an energy healer and energy researcher. So I research a lot of the connections, physical connections between energy, emotions, and the body itself.
Yes.
So,
So
how are you
that,
all?
that said, right, with the research you've been recently doing, what have you discovered?
Yeah. This is beautiful because I've been searching. Well, actually, I've been studying a lot of Joe Dispenza's work lately, and the reason is because I wanted to have his methods or his way to explaining things to people that are more science based, more like operates on the lower chakras at a more physical level. And because his work and my work are kind of similar, but his work is very science oriented. The way he talks about it, the way he explains everything, it's like that. And in some of the studies that I've been doing, I learned about this measurement and how the brain and work at the neurological level. And it was very clear to me at that point why it's so difficult for all of us to change or to implement something different in our life. And it totally makes sense with me. And now I'm seeing with the people that I'm working with, and when I am explaining them this, it's like it's becoming easier for them to follow through, to keep the work going once they understand the reasons why they need to do it. So this is something that I wanted to share with all of you guys because it's transformational. And the way that he put it is that you have your brain. Let's say that this is the physical part of the brain, and then you have the neurons, just like different little legs, and each one of these different little legs are creating an electrical pulse, an electrical connection into your brain, right? And so every time that we are living an experience, we create it's kind of like an spider legs thing. They're going to connect with something else and stay there. And if you have an emotion that is related to this event, then it becomes some sort of like a glue, and it's an electrical glue that
Mm.
is connecting that event to a specific situation. And this is the reason why many times when we listen to music that we were listening when we were in high school, we immediately go back to that place. Or when we taste a dish that someone in the family, it's very, very specific in the way they do it. We are get transported back to our grandmother house,
Mhm.
or an smell
Perfume.
transports you to
Yeah.
perfume
Perfume or
transports you to
cologne. Mhm.
a specific person, right? Is because of these neurological connections and the feelings that we attach. The feelings are the glue. The event is just the neuron, but the feeling is what is creating this glue. But the thing is that the more that we live similar experiences, the thicker the glue is. The more attached to the situation is. And it's kind of like yin and yang, right? You need to have one to have the other. So it's like they are complementing each other. This emotional connection, this energetic glue, and the memory of the event are like working together all the time. And this is the reason why we behave the way that we behave, because since we were in our mother's wombs, we were experiencing all these different things through her, right? We were developing our brain, feeling her emotions, feeling her feelings, her way of filtering reality. And it's kind of like she's creating that for us. And then when we were out of our mom's stomach and we're outside, and we start experiencing life during the first years, we are completely open. We are operating on our subconscious mind, and everything that they tell us is what we believe, right? Because we have this amazing connection with her, and then later on with our dads. So just imagine this. I mean, because you can pretty much tell that most babies, if not all, they pretty much laugh just watching, the colors that we cannot see, but they can see clearly, or the different energies of people coming in, or how they react towards someone in particular, and they don't want to touch a particular person, and they're afraid of it because they can pretty much see the colors and the energy of the aura, and the energy of the words, and the energy of the environment. It's very, very clear to us. So now, when our parents start telling us that all those monsters don't exist, and that is in our mind, and so on and so forth, we start creating those neurological connections, right? Until we get to the point where just a few very small percentage of people are able to see energies, when in reality, all of us were able to see energies very, very clearly, right? So the same goes for everything that you want to change, like food. Food is one of those things that is very difficult for the people to give up, the snacks, the processed food, and all those things, because we have that energetic connection to an event. When we first try that thing, and how it tasted, and so on and so forth, how it makes us feel. And then we keep reaffirming all that stuff. So now, once you have an energetic connection and a neurological connection to something, it becomes part of your law. It becomes part of your identity. It becomes part of your body. It becomes part of your character. So then it becomes very difficult to change or to transform, because basically you only go and do things in automatic, like brushing your teeth, like getting into a shower. Most of the times, I'm sure that you start washing yourself or your body exactly in the same way, right? You don't even have to think about it. You just do it, right?
Autopilot,
and yeah, and we do so many things that way. The way that we get a cup of water, the way that we drink it, everything becomes part of our identity and part of how we become. So those are the connections that are the hardest to remove, because you are reaffirming in every single action that glue, that energetic connection, and so it's very difficult for them to get removed. So when you have something that you want to change, you have to understand that, first of all, you need to create a new neuron, right, for the same event, and then you're gonna have to start putting glue, or putting emotion into that new neuron, and forgetting about the old one, the old way of reacting, because that is the only way that glue, because it's energy, it's electricity, it's gonna be little by little removed out of that neuron until you no longer need it anymore, and it goes away. I remember sharing on our last.
Just out of curiosity. Then.
Yes.
So this is pretty much the neurological way of changing your habits.
Yes.
So it's like getting
And
rid
the
of the
reason
old
why
habit
is, yeah,
and then creating a new one. And this is actually the science part of it and what actually happens.
yeah, exactly. And what is more beautiful about all this is that it works also for manifestation, and it works for health, and it works for everything. That's why when you go through a transformation, if you notice people that go through ayahuasca, they usually tell you about the crying and the emotion and and all the emotional things that they're experiencing. So basically, they are creating a new experience, new neurons, new connections. And because they have this massive amount of emotion attached to it, that's why when they finish, they feel so relieved. But if they don't keep working on it, eventually they go back to the old one, because the old one still exists. The old one's still there, you know, haven't go anywhere. It's just there. It's just that the other one is a new one. So you need to feed the new one in order to get rid of the old one. I remember sharing with the people that the first time that I try a salad without any dressing on a McDonald's, it was tasting like horrible, right? And now how, I don't know, 20 something years later, I cannot stand salad with dressing, you know, any type of dressing. I don't even put lime or salt. It's because I have those new associations.
Yeah,
Right?
absolutely. I had a very similar experience over the weekend. So you know Nutella. Have you heard of the Nutella stand? So I
Yeah.
was like, as a kid, because I grew up in Germany. I was born in Germany, and Nutella is like huge in Europe, and so I grew up with it. I always had Nutella at the house and was obsessed. Like I could eat spoon. I don't know how. I could eat spoons of it. So we were at the store and I saw these little miniature, like they're like literally like maybe two, like maybe the whole thing is 1 tablespoon. And they just look cute. So we're like, let's just get it. I had it. I swear to you, after just like two little tiny scoops of it, it was so sweet for me. I was like,
Yeah.
how did I ever eat this? It's
Yeah.
crazy. And I was obsessed
Yeah.
with it. So yeah,
Yeah.
taste buds are a
Yeah.
really great way. And like sweets in general, like I can't eat things that I used to have a sweet tooth. And now like
Yeah, it changed, and it changed everything. It changed your body, changed your mind, it changed everything. So now this is also happening a lot uh, things that the we let's say that you are trying to get rid of eating cheese, right? You want to remove that emotional attachment, that thing, unhealthy habit of eating cheese, except for the French, of course. And and I remember that I stopped eating cheese for, I will say, probably 4 months, something like that. And I was not missing it anymore, and nothing. And then I went to one of those networking events. It was you know, the woman that I was dating at the time then become my second wife, and now my second divorce. And and it was a fancy one, you know, and the only thing that they have, it was this very fine cheese of dirt and all that stuff. And I said, well, you know what, I can try a piece, nothing happens. And as soon as I try it, then the next time it was again and again. And eventually I started purchasing again at the supermarket. And then I was eating my pizzas and the whole thing. And what happened was that I was able to create a new neurological connection, and I was feeding it, but it wasn't, I didn't give it enough time to completely remove the other one. It was still there. And as soon as I give it a little bit of more electricity or more power, right out, you know, and these connections that I was having came back on, you know.
Yeah, totally makes sense. And I see
And
that in other people too, where they're like for like people that are smokers, right? They go for like
yes,
2, 3 months and they're not smoking. They're like, oh, you know, I've been doing great. I'm just gonna have one cigarette. And next thing you know,
and
it's like, and I'm like,
boom, yeah,
2, 3 months is nothing. You gotta go at least like a year, at
a
least,
year or so.
at least
And then for the smokers, what
a
happens
whole
is
nother
that
level.
Yeah, once they switch, like using the Joe Dispenza analogy, once you cross the river, once you are in the other side, then if you are near people that smokes, uh, you become nausea. You have nausea. It's like, oh, you cannot stand it. And that's when all those old neurological connections completely went out. you know but you have to wait until that moment, because if not, it will come back. So it's been an amazing
That's really good stuff. Yeah.
discovery, or understanding for me, and for the people that I'm working with, and I'm seeing the impact, because now it's all about, Jesus, do I really want to reestablish that connection, or do I want to feel my new connection?
Right.
And then it's way easier to understand that you are working against yourself, a part of yourself that is connected to an event that happened in the past, to habits that happened in the past, that are creating all these different things inside of you.
Yeah.
And makes a lot of sense.
And it totally does. And it makes it there's even more sense around just being more aware and how important it is to make those conscious, mindful choices rather than being
Yes.
on autopilot. Like one of the things
Yeah.
that I'm working on right now is I notice at nighttime, I want to snack. Like for no apparent reason. I won't like I'm like, oh, instead of dinner, I'm just gonna snack. And then I just continue snacking. And it's not something that I'm like, I don't know where this came from, but I do.
Yeah.
So when you're saying that, I'm definitely feeding into it rather than just saying, I'm gonna just be conscious and I'm
Yeah.
gonna either have a dinner or have one of my protein shakes and then give myself like a conscious
Yeah.
like, hey, 7
Yeah.
o'clock is the last time I'm gonna eat.
Yeah.
Right. So it's like
Yeah.
really interesting noticing that. And that goes with everything else, just having that consciousness, being aware, even when it comes to work
Yes.
placement. Because there's a lot of people that are
Yeah.
like, I want to change. Like so many people I've heard, even if it's in the head, right? They do something like, oh my God, I'm so stupid. Right. Or making those little
Oof. That's a
critical,
strong one. Yeah.
yeah. And it's like anytime you say I am, it's so powerful. And it's like whatever comes after, right? So it's like changing those, being more aware of what are those words that you're using, and then
Yeah.
replacing them with the positive light words. So that's like
Yeah.
another one, right? To like really shift the neurological connection.
Yeah, because like I said, it's difficult to let I mean, you don't gonna be able to remove it, because it's not like a switch, or an eraser that you can, oh, I just gonna erase it right now. It's very difficult. There's people that are able to do that they can say, I'm not gonna smoke anymore, and they stop. But it's for the majority of the people, that it's very, very difficult. You really need to have a conscious intervention of yourself, and understanding that you have to be able to remove years and years of reaffirmation, of glue between the old connection and the new connection, just so you have to stop feeding the old one so it runs out of power, and eventually it's like book, 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 book. They actually have an animation when he's explaining all this, how start like losing one leg, and then losing two legs, and then losing three legs, and then boop, it goes away, and then the new one have these electrical shocks, right? Because this is the connections that you are creating with it. So that's how it is.
Urges too, because I think some of these too, like smoking, or even like some what was the other? I just had a thought about another one too. Like there's certain things that are just so your body. Oh, caffeine. That's another one, right?
Yeah.
Your body also becomes dependent. So it's like
Yeah.
not giving into the urges of the body. I went pretty much cold turkey with caffeine. I told you that like a few months ago.
Wow.
My whole body was just like I was yawning, I was getting headaches, like I was just like, oh my God, what's happening? And of course with
the
having brain
detox.
tumor in the past, I started freaking out a little bit. But then I realized it was caffeine withdrawal. And I did give into it a little bit. I did, but at the same time now I've gotten to a point where it's almost the opposite, where I'm like, okay, here and there, I'm gonna choose to have caffeine today, but I'm not gonna do it every day. So it's like for me, like that's something that's been working, right? And it's no longer something that is like an automatic, let me go in the morning and make myself a cup of coffee or tea or matcha green tea or anything like that. So I've,
Yeah, it takes time. It takes time. It takes time, and the other thing here is I mean, the shortcut will be replaced for an empowering habit, because it's gonna be way easier. Because, for example, if you're snacking, and I do the same thing, by the way, but if you're snacking at night before going to bed, it's you need to replace it by something else, because it's when it becomes part of your identity, you don't even notice when you're doing it. You notice when you have it already in your mouth.
Mhm.
But before the
Or for no
ritual
reason,
of
the hunger comes
yeah,
about, and I'm like, where's this coming from? I know I'm not hungry, but it's
yeah,
almost like the body tricks you into thinking
yeah,
you're hungry just because you have this neurological connection of
yes,
time is snack time.
yes,
So
or
yeah.
eating just until you're satisfied, and that's it.
Mhm.
Now, in our meditation group, we also have an experience with. We talked about this last time when one of our friends was manifesting a job, and
Mhm.
and uh, and also makes a lot of sense now that I have this information, right? Because when we go into our meditative state, we go to these levels of awareness, or where what Dispenza calls coherence, right? Where all the waves are deeper, at the deeper levels, and then we have access, or a window of access, for a little bit of time to our subconscious mind. And then when we come out of the meditation is when we repeat our mantras. And the idea is to grab all that information and put it over there. So at the neurological level, what we are doing is creating the experience and feeding that experience, creating those energetic charge to allow it to come to us. And it's not by magic. This is just a matter of polarity. There's other ways that you can explain all this, that goes beyond miracles and all that stuff. But
Yeah,
but
there's definitely science behind magic and miracles. I just use the word.
yeah,
Yeah, there's
yeah,
definitely.
yeah. Well, that's us. For us, it's way easier. You don't have to explain to me. For me, it's energy, and it's a
Yeah.
miracle. But science based, and there's a reason. Because your neurological connections create emotions, and your emotions create a vibrational field around you, and that vibrational field have compatibilities with other fields, very specific fields. And so it's very easy for you guys to find each other. It's like carrying a magnet through different types of metals, and the metal that is more magnetic is going to get attracted to the magnet right away, and the other one's is going to be
The
dismissed.
radio, right? I mean, I feel like that's
Yeah,
the best way. It's like when you have that vibration, right? It's like
yeah,
I don't know, like
the
the
radio
radio,
waves,
right? The radio waves.
yeah,
It's like if you're tuning in to a specific
a
frequency,
frequency.
then you're
Mhm.
gonna match whatever that radio station is, and you're gonna get that. And it's no
Mhm.
different. We have the same
Yeah,
type of energy and vibration that we give off based on the emotions, feelings that we have, and we pull that. And I remember I was telling you that's like the whole. Gosh, now I can't remember what it was called, but I love the way Joe Dispenza described it, where it's like you send out a certain vibration with your
mhm.
thoughts, and then with your feelings and emotions you're pulling it back into you. And
Yeah,
there's like a whole word he used around it, and it's like I'm spacing on it, but anyhow, it's I love that now this is like the science level of it, what you're discovering of what he.
yes, and you can see. I mean, you can see it all around you. Usually it's a polarity. We talk about this in many other lives that we had before, when we're able to get close to some people and get detached from other based on our vibration and their vibration. You know, if we're compatible, we get attracted to it. And if we're not compatible, we're just rejecting each other. We just don't find each other, or we don't feel comfortable enough to be with that person. I remember sharing this about a friend that I was at one point very attracted to when we were driving the Lexus, and she started calling stupid all the different things, you know, and it's like I was like, oh my God, how different we are, you know, how different we are. Just getting upset for something that is totally out of your control, and that someone else find it attractive, and you find it. I actually find it also ridiculous, but it's like whatever, you know, you just don't purchase a car and that's it, right? To call them names. But that's how it is, you know. It's like your wave and the other people's wave becomes more attractive, and just think that everything else is the same way, you know. So
yeah,
so
and
that's
I'll even notice, like, at least in my life, the way I've noticed, like, there's certain people that there are times in my life where I'm like a lot closer to, and then there's people that are constant, and then there's people that we kind of grow apart, and then like maybe years later come back together. And I feel like all of that is just where you're at in life. And that's why even if there's people in my life I don't talk to right now, but I'm never talking to them again, because I'm like, this is just how it is right now. And maybe one day we'll be back at that place where we'll be a vibrational match again. And the universe does things, right? So there's times where you make plans with someone that I know is like not on a vibrational match, and every time something happens where plans somehow or another just get disrupted or canceled or whatnot, and I'm just like, I'm not doing anything. It's just
thank you, universe.
Yeah, pretty much. And that's really with everything, right? That's why it's like when things are not going the way that you think it's supposed to go, or what you believe it's supposed to be, because we know only so much. We have a limited mind based on our experiences, and there's so much more out there. So that's why when things don't go the way you were thinking it's supposed to go, like me right now, right? Wanting to be pregnant, and it's not going that way so far. And just really knowing that there's a vibrational reason around that, and really just learning the lessons along the way.
Yeah, and just making sure that you have the desired outcome as part of your, for example, in this case, as part of your mantra, right? As part of something that you bring in, so your vibrational connection match it, you know, your vibrational connection allow it to happen, you know, because that's what it's all about. I mean, it's and it's beautiful. It's I mean, for me, it totally made a lot of sense, because I noticed it in me, in my life. I noticed how I was able to change some things very easily, and how difficult it was to change others. And I even remember the time when I sabotaged myself, you know, by not allowing that connection to continue, the new connection to continue building up with momentum, and I allow the other connection to come back into my life, you know. And it's impressive. I mean, for me, it brings a lot of clarity. And now when I explain this to my clients, it's way easier, because when they're texting me with an issue, it's like, well, are we referring the old one, or we are referring the new one, right? So just let it be. It is what it is, you know. Don't pay more attention to the old behavior, and just pay attention to the new one, and make sure that you do the things in a different way, you know. And of course, at the beginning, you get it wrong before you get it right. You know, you do things like, for example, I will tell you, let's try to snack, I don't know, broccoli or celery, you know, and well, that's more healthy. It's still a snack, but it's more healthy.
Right.
You know, but sometimes what you need is to get rid of the habit itself, you know, and so bringing a healthy snack is not gonna get rid of a habit. You know, you are just making an effort to make a connection that is still not an empowering habit,
Mhm.
but trying to sorry about that, trying to make it work. And in reality, what you need is to get rid of the habit, right?
Mhm.
So
Yeah.
it's like cutting it completely. Do something else at night.
Something
Have
completely. Yeah.
a new process. You know
Because otherwise
what?
it's in
A
that
new
same
ritual.
box. Totally. Because
Yeah,
otherwise you're in like
yeah.
the same container. It's like no
Exactly,
different.
exactly. And switching from the celery to the other processed food snack is just, you know,
Yeah,
it's just a tick. It's just there, you know. It's
totally.
gonna be extremely easy because at one point you're gonna be on someone else's house at a dinner party, and the only snack that is available is gonna be
Mhm.
crackers and
Yeah.
cheese,
And it's
you
like,
know,
why
and
not?
it's gonna be like, one day it's not gonna do anything, but what's happening is like, you're bringing it back, you know. You bring in the whole animal back, and it's like,
Yeah.
thank you for giving me life again. You know, so you have to basically create something different, something completely new. That way, when you are at someone else's party and you snack, that time is not part of your routine. You know, is part of an extraordinary event that you don't put any emotional attachment to it, because
You're
now
not
you know that every time you have an
tempted.
emotional,
Yeah.
yeah,
Because
it's
otherwise you're like
just,
tempted, you're constantly like fighting
yeah,
yourself going to places
yeah,
rather than just being like, no,
yeah,
that's not how I eat. That's not the way
yeah,
I feel. And because
yeah, and
like so
move on.
just to share with you something based on the last time we talked about, with my
Hmm.
healing and everything that we did live. So I did create a mantra and I've been taking it on, I've been meditating on it. I've actually this is to the extreme I'm taking it. I will put my hands on my belly as if I'm already pregnant. And I'm actually
Good.
just like, and I look at myself in the mirror and I'm like, oh my gosh, I love being pregnant. And like, so I've
Yeah.
been doing as if I'm already pregnant. So these are what I'm just being like constantly making comments like I'm just
you
ready.
are you are creating that
Yes.
connection.
So that's why when
You
you're
see,
saying this, I'm like,
it's
yay, I'm creating a new
yeah,
connection.
yeah, and attaching emotion to it, you
Yeah.
know. So you are letting your body know that you are running an experience, so your vibrations are gonna match that connection, you know. And instead of, oh, I cannot get pregnant, you know, which
Totally.
is the old connection. It's the
Yeah.
old connection. It's like, no, it's not gonna happen for me. It's like, no, and so on and so forth. And everything that we do reaffirm the old one instead of the new one, you know. And that's beautiful. That's an amazing example.
Yeah. Yeah.
And yeah, definitely that's how miracles happen, you know. When you actually are certain of the things and start living the experience, because then your body have to match your vibration, your reality, you know. That's how it is. It needs to, you
Yeah.
know. And also when I'm working in households where there's a family, you know, and usually I'm working with the mother or the wife, right? Because those are the first ones to come all the time. The kids don't care about anything. They say the mother is crazy, and the husband is like, go out there and entertain yourself, because when you come back you're in better mood, and that's all I care, you know. And she's like, usually women are like, but what can I do, because I want him to change and I want him to, it's like nothing, you know. You just do the work on yourself, raise your vibration, and they're gonna start to try to pull you back down, but you keep yourself up, and then eventually they don't have any other choice than to raise themselves, you know. And it's little by little, without offering any resistance, and it's impressive. And sometimes after a few months they call me and they say, oh my god, I cannot believe this. You know, the comments that he was asking me and all that stuff is like crazy. You were right. Yeah, it's not because I am very smart, is because that's how it works, and now I understand why it works, right?
Mhm.
You create new
Like it's physical.
connections, new
Yeah.
vibration, create new emotions, and then everything else needs to reshift, because there's no reason for that environment to keep existing with your new uh, form of being. you know. So that's what we have for today,
Yeah.
guys.
Yes. Thank you so much, everyone, for joining us. And as usual, it's Monday, so we're going to be doing our weekly meditations this evening at 7 p.m. Pacific Standard Time. And you are more than welcome to join us. They are very powerful. And like you heard, Jacob said, we have someone, Sarah actually is on Facebook, and she was watching us when you mentioned. So she said hi. Like she threw a loving
Hey.
face. So anyhow, but yeah, so we even had someone that has manifested a job just within a couple months, and she's still blown away by this. She's like pretty much like a sister to me. Anyhow, so join us. They're really powerful, and we'll share more information on that, or you can message either one of us to get information. It's only $20 to join. And yeah, so hope to see those of you there.
And we are at the beginning of the month, so we have our
Yeah,
special for this session. You know, it's $50 for the whole month. So it's just at the beginning of the month. It's just the first meditation of the month when you can do this. But join us, guys, and I'm gonna share something at the meditation. If I don't say it, just remind me, please. So Sarah, please remind me about something that I discovered over the weekend when it comes to the brain and also emotions, because of the exercise that we do and how we help and how we can complement those exercises to change how we feel internally. Okay, so let's do that, guys. It was a great discovery over the weekend. I'm very excited about it, and
I'm excited
love to share with you guys.
Yeah, to hear about it. Well, thanks
all right, guys.
so much. Have a great rest of your day. Bye.
Take care, everybody. Bye-bye. Excellent.